I saw a really nice write-up from Paul McCartney about Jimmy Buffett. I've never been a real big Jimmy Buffett fan of his music, to be totally honest. Are you all?
No, I'm not.
But you were a big fan of his restaurant?
It's fine, but what I learned about him is he was really a special guy, heck of a guy. I mean, all these things I'm reading are really nice. Let me tell you some other news.
Yeah, if you don't care.
This is a new segment called In the News. Maybe we can we get a graphic made up for that one?
Oh, yeah.
I like that fishbowl graphic. Bravo, by the way.
I did too. I was
Who
really
made
happy
that?
to see that.
Wow.
Austin, you made that? Now, this one, you got to go the other way. It's like I go, in the news. What are you going to do with that?
I will say that the first time that the fishbowl graphic came across on the video podcast, I about dropped my phone laughing. I did not expect it to be there, nor did I expect the reaction of the graphic when I saw it. So go on with your news there. This is really interesting.
Well, I'm looking for a headline here that's not too controversial. I don't want to get you canceled.
Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate it. We all have strong opinions of these headlines.
Political views are.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. This guy's driving. It's the most pampered steer in the world in northeast Nebraska. Why hoof it on the trail? This steer rides shotgun. And there's a guy driving down the highway. Look at that. And he's got a big steer.
Yeah, I take my dog with
Sits
me
in
while
the
I
front.
pick your cow.
God, he must love that thing. What about the old spotted lanternfly?
Oh, no.
You know about this?
Yes, I saw Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's down here now. So it's an invasive species up around New York, New Jersey, I think. That was no joke. They started putting up billboards with slogans that says, "See it, squish it, kill it."
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to kill them. I'm not sure exactly what they do, but if you see one, you're going to want to kill it. Ricky Tick.
Most Ricky Tick.
Yep.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, hey, guys, welcome to the podcast. Jeff, we got to get to work, okay? We just can't sit around and read the newspaper all day, okay?
I know.
All
I'm
right.
excited to do it, too.
Hey,
This is gonna
happy
be the best
birthday, by the
episode.
way, man. Well,
Thanks.
fresh off your birthday. How's that feel?
Boy, it feels great.
You don't look any older. You feel older?
Yeah,
Do you?
a little bit. 42.
I was at a wedding with you a couple weeks ago, and I saw him and his wife was there. And you know what I saw him do? He picked her up, spun her around on the dance floor. Oh, I was so inspired. I clapped from the sidelines because I don't dance publicly.
Well, that was a pretty good move, wasn't it?
It was. I thought, that boy's back.
You know how I do that?
Yeah. What?
Get in the gym.
Whoa. Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
wait, let's get serious.
Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who we got here with us today?
I'm Morgan. I'm the executive director of the Clarksburg branch.
I'm Tracy. I'm a home health aide at the Clarksburg branch.
Awesome. Guys, welcome in.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is really exciting. So, Tracy, congratulations. You're actually the first home health aide that we've had on the podcast before. So that's
Thank
really
you.
exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, we sent out a couple messages a month or so back asking who may be interested in coming on. And Morgan replied back right away and said, I have a recommendation. She said, there's a caregiver that works here at Clarksburg that you have to have on. And so we as quickly as we could, jumped on a Zoom call with you guys. Met Tracy, knew right away this was a great idea.
Well, that was one of my questions on my little David Letterman card.
Yeah.
Why did you select Tracy to come on today's show? What is it about Tracy that is special?
She is really the epitome of a caregiver to me, and to Village Caregiving. She's very family oriented, and she's someone that stops by and visits me at least weekly. She comes in, sits down in my big leather chair, props up her feet, literally swings them over, props them up on the chair, and she just lets go of her day. If she's had a bad day, a good day, something she needs to tell me. If she's volunteering with something the following week, she'll tell me about it, and I love nothing more than when she stops by and visits with me.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's about
Hang
right.
out in the office? Well, you guys sound like friends as much
Well,
as colleagues.
That's how I stay successful, I guess, at what I do is where I'm able to do that. If it wasn't for Morgan or Mandy, I couldn't do what I do.
Yeah.
So having a good base is the backbone of what we do.
Awesome.
Yeah, Morgan's the best.
Yes.
She's great.
You have never said such a thing about me. I mean, he never has said anything like that about me. Tracy, you've met me. I'm wonderful, right?
Yeah.
I'm a great
very,
guy, very
yes,
friendly.
yes. And I did see some earlier pictures of you. We got to visit downtown
Oh, boy.
and when you were in your youth.
Oh, gosh.
In his youth.
Your newspaper clippings.
You, Jeff.
That was last year.
Not Aaron.
Yes. I want to see
Well,
this.
no, you're not getting anywhere near any of that, okay? Let's focus on them, okay? I don't want to, I didn't, you know.
I do have a lot of questions to ask.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, cool.
Well, first off, can I talk to Morgan for a moment here? But can you tell us about, you're the executive director, the head honcho of the office. How did you come to Village Caregiving, and talk about your journey to the position you're in now?
Well, I do believe I've been here for about 6 years now. I started out just answering some phone calls, helping out the executive director at the time. Slowly, I was just telling Tracy about this. I was here before we had names like director of operations and executive director. I substituted. I went into a few clients' homes, some that we still have. And then I moved into a director of operations role, and I did that for, I guess, 4.5, 5 years. And now I've just moved on up to the executive director role.
It's a cool journey.
It's been the best journey.
That's awesome.
It's a great story. I was actually, last week when our Indiana team was in, I was sharing that story with them. I was asking who all was coming on the podcast in the next coming weeks. And I'd mentioned that the Clarksburg team was coming down. And I said, have you ever heard Morgan's story about how she joined Village Caregiving, how long she's been with us? Recently, I had to pull out an old employee file. And at the top of you remember when we had the new employee hire sheet that we'd have to send to Jeff to get him paid?
Yeah.
There was just like a couple offices across the top, and you would circle.
Yep.
I mean, that seems like that was 100 years
It
ago.
really does.
You were here, I mean, really right at the start
Yeah, we
of
would
this
send him
thing.
a Microsoft Excel Word document with their name and how many hours to pay him.
Yeah.
That's right. Are you from Clarksburg originally?
Nope, I was born in Georgia, but lived in Lewis County most of my life. So Weston, about a half hour from our office.
Okay. How did you end up in Clarksburg? I'm sorry, I don't remember this story.
Just I had a family member friend that was part of Village Caregiving too, and she knew that I guess I wasn't unhappy with what I was doing, but I wasn't reaching my potential. I enjoy talking to people. I was trying to work with children, which I realized I just wanted to be with my own rather than everyone else's. And
What were you doing? Don't mention the name of the company, but what were you doing previously?
early childhood, I was a preschool teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So you were born in Georgia? Is that what you said?
but yes, for a very short amount of time.
Okay. So you were already up in West Virginia with your family.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I got you.
What about you, Tracy? Are you from?
I'm from Clarksburg, yes. I was married and had a child and, went through some things. And I started cleaning houses, kind of, with my friend. And at church, or I started sitting with elderly, and they both kind of meshed.
Yeah.
And we have a real nice office in the middle of Clarksburg. So I noticed it, and I just stopped in and met Morgan, and she was the reason that I've went further with it, that I wanted to work there. She's real easy to talk to, and I was fortunate with the people that I got.
Yeah.
So
What's your favorite part of working with Morgan? Aside from getting to hang out in the office and.
Well, she just is so easy to talk to. I mean, and she knows her clients. She knows our clients. She knows her employees. She knows the business, and she has climbed the ladder. So
Yeah.
she's someone to definitely look up to in this.
100% agree. It's nice.
We go in people's houses, we go in their homes, and they trust us.
Yeah.
So she has a big role in, here I am pumping her up.
Yeah,
but
no.
she has a big role in placing us there, and I appreciate that.
Same question to you about Tracy. When you send her to a client's home, what do you expect?
Yeah, just that she's really good at bouncing in and out of clients' homes and getting in there, doing the job, and getting out. We talked about that on the way up. We have some people who can go in and just be with one person for years. Traci has worked with several people, and she's good at going in, finding out what their needs are very quickly, getting them cleaned up, taken care of for the day, and moving on. But she's personal enough that she'll get to know something about them, and then she'll keep it, and she'll take it with her, and she'll share it with someone else. She's very good at training other staff if they need to come in. She's worked in some homes where she's had to share care with that caregiver, and she's good at giving her notes and moving on throughout the day. She doesn't take too much time doing what she's doing. She's very efficient.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, I hardly prepared
This
anything.
is the least I've heard you talk.
Well, and Jeff yelled at me. We're in the middle of contract negotiations right now for the podcast, and
How are they going?
well, we're waiting to see. If I'm not on the next one, you'll know what happened. No, I think it is such a cool story, the Clarksburg office in itself. And what's really cool about West Virginia for village caregiving is the state that we started in. We now cover the whole state. We have many offices and big cities and little towns. But Clarksburg is really unique. It was one of the original offices. It was the third office that was found in the company. But you guys continue to grow. And a lot of things, I saw recently that West Virginia was listed as a state that the census is decreasing. So folks aren't exactly coming back to West Virginia, but our business is growing because the need continues to grow here in the state. What is it that you guys are doing in Clarksburg that allows you to keep growing and serving more people? You're clearly taking care of the current clients that you have, but something you've kept a good name, you're growing. What is the secret to that?
I honestly think it's people like Traci, our caregivers that get out into the community. She's part of a church. She volunteers for
Homes for Harrison.
Homes for Harrison. She just is around town. She talks to people. She'll bring in clients. She'll bring in other caregivers, and then she walks around with her shirt on all the time. She's talking about us. I mean, we try to get our face out where it should be. We're not. We're just.
Yeah.
Like I always say, we're in the community.
In the community.
In the community.
Yes.
If there was a name for this episode, what do you think it'd be?
In the community.
Well, you are. That's
Yeah.
the kind of thing that the business development team constantly is preaching is activities drive results. You've got to be out there. Clients aren't just going to come waltzing through the office every day. You got to get out there and spread the word. And
If you do a good job, or if I do a good job, and the word gets around, because people always get older. There's always going to be a need. So if you set the bar high, people are going to come back to that company. They're going to, or take my reference maybe of another employee, and word gets around. So you want to really do your best.
Yeah. Traci, let me ask you this. When you're, we here at the office, sometimes when we're talking with directors, we'll say something like, give us your elevator speech, or give us the quick, if you're at the grocery store and someone asks, what do you do? When you're at church or you're out at the community, you're volunteering at a nonprofit, and they see your village caregiving shirt on, and they ask, like, what is that? Tell me a little bit about what you do. How would you describe what you do? In your words, what do you do for folks in the Clarksburg area?
I provide needs for people that are maybe elderly, some type of incapacitated, or just need a friend, need company, that are alone, that don't have family, and I find their needs and try to meet them the best.
So sometimes, when a lot of our state governments and different insurance company stuff, they don't know exactly what to call us. They don't know, they're like, oh, they're not. Sometimes they'll use terms like non-skilled or non-medical or those sorts of things. They get a little confused about what we are. And there's been talk in our industry that's somewhat degrading, that it's like, that's not a real accurate description of what we do. When you go into a client's home, do you see that you make a difference in that person's life? I mean, are you adding to the quality of their day when you're there?
Yes. Yeah, I can tell by if when someone thought I was going to leave, like the whole family was really upset and worried. And I didn't think I did that much. I just did what anyone would do.
Yeah.
But it made me feel good, and they were relieved that I stayed.
Sure.
But yeah, just it could go from washing dishes to helping a person bathe, or just, you never know. And for me, I like that. I like to, the family, the way the family works and the family dynamic. And so it works for me, and I try to do my best.
Yeah. Well, so much of the time when we talk about what we do and professionally, we say things like we offer a lot of flexibility in schedule and we offer a lot of purpose in what we do, right? And so it sounds like you've seen the purpose in what we do. You see how you're extending the stay in the home, the value that you're bringing in companionship or assisting with ADLs, those sorts of things. Are you experiencing the flexibility part of this role as well? Do you have flexibility in your schedule? Are you able to do things outside of work that you wanted to do?
Yeah, with work, I'm fortunate that the people that I have are flexible as far as doctor appointments for each other, and if you have vets, a lot of them tend to be on a schedule. So if you say, clinic day is this day or something, the clients tend to be very flexible too. And then you can do activities with them outside, like go and get their hair cut, or, just being in the community. And a lot of people, knowing Village, will give discounts for haircuts or something like that, and I try to make that available for them.
Awesome. Morgan, over your time at the company, I mean, like you said, you've been here over 5 years now. What's some of the purpose that you've seen in what you do with being able to schedule these folks, where we have clients that come to us that haven't had a caregiver? They maybe never been on service or come from another agency or something, and they have this tremendous need. And then you solve that need by finding folks like Traci to go to the home. What's been the reward mechanism there for you?
All of it's just such a great reward. Also, she just told me a story coming up here. She, with her flexibility in her schedule, she went and sat with one of her clients, and his spouse was able to go to a great granddaughter's wedding or a granddaughter's wedding who she otherwise wouldn't have been able to.
I see.
Had Traci not been there. So just being able to see small things like that where family can get out of the house and they have that respite care that they trust in us to leave their loved one at home, and she was able to travel out of the state and go visit with someone. So much of that is what is a reward for me, is being able to see them live their life fully and not stuck inside waiting for something.
Yeah, I know we joke a lot about the in the community phrase with you, but I was talking to Mandy before we started the podcast about seeing on social media where you guys were working with the local high school cross country team, and so you're working with the youth and impacting. I know when Andy Hess, our general counsel, was up in your neck of the woods, he saw our logo on the local baseball field. So we're involved in the next generation. I see all the time you guys at Volunteer Services and doing different things for our current clients. And I also know that you guys have went over and visited local cemeteries and honored veterans that have passed away. I mean, you really cover all aspects of what we do. Why is that important to you?
Just so that people know we are family oriented and that we're here and that we care. I mean, the Memorial Day thing comes from my family. Traci actually went with me to do that, so it was a really special time to share that with her. That just comes from me and my background. Yeah,
that's awesome. Is it important to you that a company is able to facilitate those sorts of things, that they're, there's some companies like, hey, you get $500 a year, however you spend the sponsorship money is on you. But in you guys' case, I mean, I think Village Caregiving has tried to become a member of every community that we're in, but you guys really do an exceptional job on that. Is that part of the culture at Village Caregiving that you find most attractive about it, or is that just kind of a thing?
Yeah, I like that we have the flexibility to choose where in the community we want to be and how we want to be viewed. So if we think it's better on a ball field versus, I don't know where else you could be, but I mean, basketball versus baseball. I mean, I love softball. My daughter plays softball, so I want to be on the softball field. Some people may like the chess club, so if they want to sponsor their local team's chess club in Indianapolis, let's go do that. So yeah, being able to choose where we want to be is really helpful, and I'm able to show my pride obviously more in things that I have pride in. So yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah, Traci, could you share with us, again, without mentioning any names here, just some of your favorite stories, not trying to put you on the spot too much, but with a client, some meaningful people that you've taken care of over the years, or maybe they changed your life in a certain way, or a funny story, whatever it might be.
A couple, the affection that the older couples still have. You see an older couple and they've made it 60, 70 years in marriage and they're still thriving. I mean, you know, the kisses, they separate for the day, the welcoming them back to each other. I mean, it's just awesome. And I see that how being in home health can increase your lifespan. I mean, how people really, they perk up when you're there. If you're there and, you know, nobody has been there for a long time and you get this client first and they're like, you know, sad and then in 2 or 3 months sometimes you're making them breakfast, they're expecting you, they've got jobs for you to do, and when you initially started they didn't want to be bothered. So it's really good to see how people connect with you.
Yeah, that's something that if someone who's never been a caregiver, it's hard to believe how important companionship can be to your physical health. It's a little bit, you know, counterintuitive. You might not think that right off the bat, but 100% true. And whenever you talk about, this is something I've learned from Aarron. So you mentioned there, at first, your client doesn't want you to do certain things, or I can still do this. But then over time, you build a level of trust there. And so what Aarron has explained to me is really what that's about is preserving their dignity, because they're the person that's always taking out the trash. I can give myself a bath. I can do all these things. And so when they allow you to do this, what they're really doing is letting go some control and giving away their autonomy to someone else that they trust. And that is a really special, beautiful thing, I think. Do you relate to that?
Exactly.
Tell him what you just told me in the car about the gentleman. Go ahead.
There was someone, and I would go, and at like 2 o'clock I was leaving, okay, and I left at 2. Well, I kind of caught on. I stayed over one day for just even 5 or 10 minutes, and I noticed that him having more, he doesn't have much control of anything anymore. You know, elderly, could barely get around, and these people have lost control of their life. So giving them the control of when I leave, so I started staying over just 5 minutes, can change their whole day, can make your next time back even, you know, better. And I noticed a change when I was like, that was just like 10 minutes. You know, 5 minutes, and it can make a big difference in someone.
Yeah. God, that's such good stuff.
Yeah.
I get like goosebumps listening to it. That's good. Do you get to interact with the other caregivers very often? Do you ever bump into them at the office or in a home? I just wonder if you ever really interact with your coworkers much.
I've worked with a couple, someone that has 24-hour care, or she says I always wear the T-shirts out and stuff. And, you know, I was approached with, where'd you get that shirt from? And I thought they were asking about our services. And no, they work there. They wanted a shirt. So, yeah, I do. I run into people and, people ask and are curious. And it's a good thing.
Does that help you when you get to share some stories and like, oh yeah, that's the same thing that I've been going through? Or
Definitely. Or help. I am a note taker on the person, not names or not stuff like that, but just little things they might like or how they're feeling. And I'm big on notes.
Cool.
So sometimes when we're in a situation where we meet this client and we spend a lot of time with them and we go through this process of acclimating to their habits and their daily lives, we can experience what's called caregiver fatigue. And that's where we get really close. We spend a lot of time, we do a lot of effort. And then part of the process of life is death, and we lose people. And that's something, I mean, I know as long as you've been with the company, you've had many clients that have passed away while they were on services. Have you experienced the loss of a client before? I know you've been with us about a year.
Yes, in my first group.
First client. I was so mean. I gave her first client. It was a very short time she got to spend with him. So that was her first try at village caregiving. It
Emotionally, I as a nurse, I've had clients that have passed away, and there's an honor to being there in those moments, and when you can again preserve their dignity and you can provide, that moment of time for them where you know they're being taken care of and their needs are being met. But I mean, in a way, you lose a bit of yourself in those moments, right? I mean, you sacrifice some emotion, some, I don't know, some heart. I've never have really understood the right word to use in that moment, but it is sacrificial. I mean, you give of your time. Sometimes we're there on holidays. Sometimes we're there when our kids have something going on, our grandkids have something going on, or there's something special going on in our lives, and we miss that because our clients' needs come first. Has that been something that's always been in your life? Have you always been a person that just kind of naturally took care of other people, or did you come at this later in life? How did you end up in this?
Yeah, I've always been my mother said when I was little that I would like cry when something happened to the dog on TV or something. I've always been that person. And I did have a client pass away, and I was very close with their family quickly.
Yeah.
You know, and she had to work, and I was with him a lot, and at the end, hallucinating and passing away and stuff, he was like, "Where's that rainbow girl?" And it was me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that made me, you know, a little. Then, you know, after he passed, I continued to every now and then touch base and make sure everybody's okay. And so it can be a lifelong job, not
Absolutely.
job, but lifelong connection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, for sure. It's such a special thing that we get to do, and it's something we don't talk a lot about. It is kind of sad. It brings the mood down a little bit, but being able to be there, know that we've done a great job and we met those needs during that period of their life, and I don't know, it's something that's special to us. I think it's unique. It's Morgan, it puts a lot of pressure on you to make sure that we find really good people. We find all the Tracis that are available in Clarksburg to go out and do this thing. What kind of pride do you take in being able to do things like that?
Definitely, I was going to say, watching her handle that first situation, knowing that was her first client, her first time with the agency, and how she handled it, I was like, she's going to be here. She's not going anywhere. She jumped in. She was learning with the gentleman's hospice aide. She was calling and telling me stuff, and the way she handled that whole process, she's a village caregiver. She's going to be here. She knew what to do, and she handled it so well and beautifully. But yeah, having to go through that with each caregiver, that can be very hard, and some of them take it different ways, but being a part of their lives is, lifetime.
Awesome. Well, the question that I have for you is, so many of our directors that we have on, they've been with us a year, 2 years, maybe 3 years. You're one of the OGs. You're one of the originals. What advice would you give to folks that are right now in somewhere out in, let's say, Wyoming, applying for a village caregiving position there, and they're thinking about leaving their current company and coming to work for a company like Village Caregiving? You've been here. You've seen all the transitions. You know all the folks. What advice would you give someone that's looking at making the jump to come as an executive director here?
I don't know what advice I'd give. I do generally tell, there's a quote I give. It was from a movie that I like, and I've told it to a few people that we've been interviewing for RN positions. I've said, I said, it's much like a marriage. Some days I like it, and some days I love it. There are days that I don't love it, and I will deal with it, but it's just the most rewarding job. There's never a same day. There's always something new. There could be just a horrible day. Someone passes away, and then someone like Traci walks in to apply for a job, and she's just a halo that comes in from that day. And I don't know what to say other than this is a one-of-a-kind job. I cannot describe it. I've never been able to. People ask me what I do. A lot of people don't understand what I do, but you're going to love it as soon as you're here.
Awesome.
I even said, "What is your title?" Because she wears so many hats. And I'm like, what now? What do you do? Because I just say my boss.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what technically is your title? Because she does a lot.
Yeah, she does. And, I would like to ask you also, so 6 years, I mean, gosh, you might be one of the top 10 employees that's been with the company the longest, maybe, somewhere like that, right? And so a lot of years as a DO, and you worked with Lindsay there in Clarksburg, and cap tip to her. She did a lot of good work too, and you guys were partners. Now you're the director there. Be proud for a second. What the current state of your office, what is the thing that you're most proud of that you accomplish there in Clarksburg?
That we're in the community. People know us. I mean, case managers call us. They know that we're going to get people in there fast. The VA, we have such a good relationship with the gentleman there. He's calling us first. He knows. I can call him immediately and say, hey, I know this veteran that needs some care. He's like, yep, go ahead and do it. get him some care. He knows that we'll do it. And same with caregivers. They come in, some come back that have left to go do other jobs, and they know that we're going to take care of them. And everyone all around in the community knows that we're here.
You do a great job. You're kind of joking, but
No,
do you realize how great a job you do? I mean, are you
Probably
proud of
not.
are you proud of yourself and the way that you've grown and developed in your career?
Yes.
Or do you just never think about it?
I
Honestly.
probably never think about it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you should. You deserve it.
Yes.
Thank you.
I've got to add that last December I was in Clarksburg. I came up for something, and I was in there, and they had their Christmas tree up, and there was these gifts sitting around, and they weren't like massive gifts. I mean, they weren't flat screen televisions, but there was a bunch of like small individually wrapped gifts. And I asked, I said, what are these? And she's like, those are gifts for all of our staff. And she had went, like, I don't want to get emotional about it, but she went and hand wrapped every gift for every employee that she had. And like, I went out and I sat in my car and I'm like, I'm a piece of crap. Like, what? You know, I mean, she is an angel on earth. What is she doing? Like, that's a remarkable thing that no one knew about. She didn't take pictures and blast on social media, which is fine. It was just that's just the human that she is. Yeah. And it's like, I saw that she was having an employee recognition day at the Splash Park. And I know her. She is money conscious as all get out. This woman will cut coupons all day if you let. And I called her. I'm like, hey, this is so awesome what you're doing. Who all's coming? And she's like, I've got this many staff members coming by, and we're going to do little awards for them. And I'm like, get good stuff too. I mean it. Like, do it right. But it was just so freaking special. Like, she does those things all the time. And it just, Clarksburg, the employees, the clients, the family members, the referral sources in Clarksburg are just so ridiculously lucky to have you there. Like, I really mean that you are a unique person that does a fantastic job, but your heart is just so difficult to replicate. If we could have 1 million of those, we would be a better society because of it.
Well, thank you.
I told her coming up here that I said no education could make you. There is something in you that just shines above most.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Well, cool. Jeff, did you have any other questions? I know, you just bring.
This has been a lot of fun.
It has been. This has been a lot of fun. Well, cool. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of the podcast. How did it go?
Great.
Are we good? You guys coming back for part 2?
We don't get to do the fishbowl.
Do you want to do the fishbowl?
Clarksburg might get their own the way she goes.
That's right. We're thinking about just launching an offshoot of this. We'll call it In the Community. You want to do it? You guys cool to do a fishbowl
Yeah,
question?
I'm gonna do a fishbowl
Why don't you let
question.
her pull it out?
I was
Get it
coming
now.
from
I
my
am not
umbrella.
responsible for whatever happens.
It'll probably go better now.
Who am I supposed to ask? Oh, get out of
Everyone,
here.
ask the table. Ask the table. I'm
All
ready.
right, do you think you'd have a better chance of landing a commercial airplane or jumping over a canyon on a motorcycle?
Oh, I got this one. Are you? Oh, you're not going to do this.
I got to get started on this apple so I can eat the whole thing.
On a previous podcast a couple of weeks ago, Chris Atkins declared that he could eat, or he does religiously eat, the entire apple. Nothing left over.
What? You're lying.
I've
You
seen-
can't eat the core of an apple with seeds in it and
I've
stuff.
seen him do it. He
I
eats
every
it like a
single time.
potato chip.
I do. The whole thing.
He starts with that, and when he's done, there's nothing in his hand. Have you ever heard of such craziness?
My grandpa does that too.
Well, we're about ready to see.
He doesn't eat a peach pit, but he'll eat down to the very bottom.
Yeah, no, Jeff is intending to eat
I'll get there
core and
fast.
all. Okay.
You see, talk about airplanes and motorcycles.
Are you
Give me-
gonna land an airplane or jump over a canyon on a motorcycle?
I believe I'll be on the motorcycle.
Really? Evil
Yes.
Knievel style, right
Yes.
over the canyon.
Yeah, I'm good in an airplane
Yeah.
or in a helicopter, but not heights are not my thing. So.
Okay. So if you were emergency situation, the pilot is offline, he's stuck in the bathroom, he's like, I'm sorry, Tracy, you got to get this thing on the ground. You can't bring that 737 down.
I would hope that I would have backup.
Where are you at on this?
I think I'd probably land the commercial airplane.
I think you could get it done. I can hear
absolutely,
I could hear the recording come overhead. She's
yeah.
air traffic control. This is Morgan. I'm in TEL 3214. I'm at 26 knots, declaring an emergency. I personally have never practiced on this is unbelievable that this is happening. Right? I have never personally practiced
I'm having to take bigger bites.
I've noticed. But I have watched some YouTube videos just in case that the moment would ever come up. I've told Jeff this before. As a nurse, before I was a nurse, I would run into these like medical emergency moments that most people wouldn't find themselves in. We're at Fazoli's one day and the cashier just passes out. And we're like, "Are you okay?" And she's like having some diabetic episode, and we're like, resuscitating, whatever. So it would not be crazy for me to be on, I don't know, an Allegiant flight to Orlando, and all of a sudden they're like, "Can anyone land this thing?" And I'm like, "All right, I've been waiting for this moment." I mean, if it doesn't work, no one will ever be able to tell me it didn't work. But if it does work, wow. Number one, you can't stop now.
Oh, I'm ready. Whenever we get there. Neither one of those are terribly attractive options, are they?
No.
I'd try to land the plane. I mean, I can't even see myself jumping a canyon on a motorcycle. I'm not going to land that. The plane, I think I'll just try to put her down.
You've flown a lot, though. You have a lot of miles.
I guarantee you that thought came on a plane. I wasn't just sitting on the couch. Had that one. Maybe I wasn't.
Are you really
I'm
going to
go for it.
Oh, my
goodness. Okay, you can see the seeds.
This is...
Right?
Yeah.
I just swallow the seeds. Do I chew the seeds?
You asking the camera?
Well, Spencer and Chris both eat all their apples. So
Oh, Spencer does too.
yeah, they're weird. All right, I'm just gonna see how this. I've never done this before.
I will say, Chris said that it is. Oh, that is. The fact that you're leaving some of the good
I think
apple.
you got most of it licked. You got the worst part behind you.
This is the kindest thing anyone's ever said. Well, you got me. It's all rosy from
I'm
here.
crunching these seeds up. You're right. They don't taste like much at all. Don't they have cyanide in them?
Just a very little
Just
bit.
a little bit.
Mandy's over here like, stop.
Yeah.
Well, you have the nurse
You know
beside
what?
you.
It was
It's that
I'm-
emergency situation.
He's a DNR. I'm letting him go. Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
through it.
yeah.
You're not done.
That
You have
was
to eat the whole
nothing.
thing.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, that very
Now, here's the verdict.
Yeah. Are you doing?
It was completely fine. I would do it every time, I think. There's no reason to just have this thing left. You were right.
Us
Chris was
wasteful
right.
Americans.
Wow. This is huge.
Now I'm all in on this.
Now you're going to judge people that don't do it.
I'm
You
gonna
leave an apple at
I'm gonna
everyone's
go
table.
around and just tell people.
And if you don't believe me, I've got a
Yeah.
film of it.
Yeah. Give me one of them apples. What's this?
Yeah, I can just see you down at Kroger now. Anyone that comes by for a bushel of apples, you're just...
This is kind of gross. Sorry.
No,
There's
it's fine.
There's a seed there.
Well, go ahead and get that thing down the chute.
I just take it kind of like when I
Like
take
a
my
pill.
allergy pill. Right? I just swallow it whole.
I have never went
Easy
through so
peasy?
many emotions in a half hour.
Yeah.
For that.
Through.
Yeah,
You
same.
know, yeah.
Yeah, I actually talk to a therapist after this usually.
Yes.
But anyways, well, guys, as Jeff grows apples over there,
Right in here.
right in the
tree.
bell. Thank you guys so much for making the trip down. Thanks for being the first home health aide that's ever came on the program.
You're welcome.
Morgan, thanks again for all that you guys do there in the Clarksburg office. And we always end one of these by cheers. So cheers to you guys.
Yes, love you
Thank you
both.
for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I don't think you should add water to that. That's what we do after we plant seeds. And
Oh, shut up.
I'm worried about you.
You had me for a second thinking you